Hello and welcome back. This video is a follow-on from our video about polite emails and formal letters. How do you write a formal job application when you've been asked to send it as an email? Now, typically emails are known as less formal ways of communicating, but a job application is a formal situation. So you want to make sure you are still including formal language in your email when you are applying for a job. So let's look at an example. We're going to start off with the subject line. The subject line is really important because this is your chance to make the first impression, and you need to make a really good first impression, particularly as your employer will likely have hundreds, if not thousands, of applications to sift through. So we want to make it stand out, and we want to be really specific and clear about what we're applying for. So, application for, then the job title and the reference number. That's what's going to go in the subject line. Now, when they've opened your email, you also want that to be the first thing they read, so they understand what the email is going to be about before they read it. So again, in the email at the top, we're going to write application for, and then the job title and the reference number. Now, just as we explained in the previous video, we're going to address our reader with dear, and we're going to try our hardest to find out their name. We need to find out the name of the person that we are writing to make such a good impression that they are going to read our application the whole way through. We're going to stand out, we're going to make a great first impression. So really try hard to find that person's name. Now, if you can't find that person's name, we might put dear employer, or we might put dear company name, or as discussed in the previous video, we might say dear sir or madam. Once we've addressed the reader, we're going to get to the specifics. I would like to apply for the something role advertised in or on where it was advertised recently. So for example, I would like to apply for the teaching role advertised in the local newspaper recently. Or I would like to apply for the teaching role advertised on the jobs board online recently. Using the word would is one of our polite modal words, so that's a really good word to put in here to make sure our language is coming across polite. I would like to apply for the teaching role advertised on the jobs board online recently. I feel that my qualifications and experience match your job specifications almost exactly. Now, using the word feel here, this is some vague language. We're talking about how someone thinks, how they feel. This is a way of being indirect, and the more indirect we are, the more polite we are with our language. So I feel that my qualifications and experience match your job specifications almost exactly. Now, we're using the word almost as a quantifier. We're not saying I'm the right person for your job because I match the specifications exactly. We're not being that direct. We're being indirect. So we're using words like almost to quantify it. We're saying almost exactly. We're adding a little bit of uncertainty into our language to keep it indirect and polite. We're going to bullet point the details, so the key specifics, the things that they've asked for. What qualities have they asked for? What experience? What qualifications? We're just going to bullet point them and summarise, because you're going to go into far more detail in your CV, which is going to be attached. Then we're going to refer to those attachments and we're going to make a request. When we make a polite request, we tend to use the word please. So we're going to say, please take the next few minutes to review the documents attached. Now, I've used the word few here because, again, it's a quantifier. We've quantified the amount of time it's going to take them. We've made it a little bit uncertain, a little bit vague, and therefore less direct. Please take a few minutes. You know, it's much, much softer to say it that way instead of please take the next minute. We're actually saying, you know, it's going to be a few minutes. Then you're going to have your curriculum vitae, which is what we call it in the UK. You might know it as a resume, and you're probably going to attach your covering letter as well, because although this email serves as your covering letter, it's nice for them to have a copy that they can perhaps print out. Then we're going to thank the reader. So just as we've said please, now we're going to give thanks. So thank you for taking the time to read my application. I look forward to hearing from you soon. Again, as we discussed in the previous video, using I look forward to hearing from you soon indicates that you want to receive a response back. Then, as previously discussed, you have your complimentary close. Now, if you did know the name of the person that you were applying for the job with, then you can put yours sincerely. If you don't know their name, then you can put yours faithfully. As it's an email, it's still pretty formal to write something like kind regards if you would prefer. And then you're going to put your name and finish off the email. So this is an example of an email that you can use as a cover for your job application. So perhaps you've been asked to send your CV, or perhaps you've been asked to fill in an application form. When you do it in an email format, you want to include this cover with it. Now, even though it's an email, you want to keep it as formal as possible, which is why we've discussed having the subject line, the header, the specifics, some bullet points for the detail, referring to the attachments, and thanking the reader, and then having a complimentary close at the end. So next time you're in a situation where you're asked to send an email for a job application, keep the language formal. Make sure you say please if you're making a request. Make sure you say thank you to thank the reader, and make sure your language is as formal as possible, because what you want to do is make a great first impression among a sea of other applications. So I hope you enjoyed watching my video. Stay tuned for the next one. Thanks very much for watching. Bye for now.